Step into the haunting world of Cloak and Dagger, where light and darkness wage an eternal battle. In this gripping video, we unravel the tragic origins of Tyrone Johnson and Tandy Bowen, two lost souls, bound by fate, transformed into living symbols of shadow and hope. Discover how a sinister experiment turned them into vigilantes, forever linked in a struggle against the darkness that threatens to consume them. Experience the cold, terrifying abyss of Cloak's Darkforce dimension, and witness the desperate hunger that drives him. This is not just a story of heroes, it's a journey into the very heart of fear and redemption. Don't miss it. In the vast tapestry of the Marvel Universe, few characters embody the harrowing duality of light and darkness as vividly as Cloak. Born from the tortured soul of Tyrone Johnson, Cloak's existence is a relentless dance between despair and hope, shadow and light, a yin and yang brought to life through the horrific alchemy of fate and circumstance. It was the early 1980s, a time when the streets of New York City were plagued by poverty, crime, and the ravages of addiction. In the midst of this urban decay, two lost souls, Tyrone Johnson and Tandy Bowen, found each other. Tyrone, a young black teenager from South Boston, burdened by a tragic past and a stutter that silenced his voice, fled to New York in search of redemption. Tandy, a privileged white girl from the affluent suburb of Shaker Heights, Ohio, ran from a life of neglect and emotional abandonment by her self-absorbed mother. Together, they were two sides of the same coin, young, broken, and desperately seeking solace in a world that seemed to offer none. But the streets of New York were unforgiving. Tyrone and Tandy, like many before them, were preyed upon by those who lurked in the shadows, waiting to exploit the vulnerable. Lured by the false promise of food and shelter, they fell into the hands of Simon Marshall, a sinister figure conducting illegal experiments for the Maggia crime syndicate. In a cold, abandoned warehouse on Ellis Island, Tyrone and Tandy were injected with a potent, experimental drug, one intended to be a new form of heroin. But this drug, infused with dark magic, did not kill them as it did so many others. Instead, it transformed them, unlocking within them powers that were as much a curse as they were a gift. Tyrone became Cloak, his body consumed by the Darkforce dimension, a cold, empty void where light goes to die. His once warm flesh was replaced by an ethereal, living shadow, a swirling vortex of darkness that hungered endlessly for light. This hunger was not just a physical need, it was a ravenous, all-consuming void that threatened to devour his very soul. Cloak could teleport by slipping into this dimension of darkness, dragging others with him into its cold embrace. Those who were engulfed by his cloak would experience their deepest fears, the darkest corners of their psyche laid bare, until they were either released or consumed by the dark. Tandy, on the other hand, emerged as Dagger, a beacon of pure, radiant light. Her body now produced daggers of light, each one a blade capable of healing the afflicted or draining the life force of the wicked. Dagger's light was the only thing that could satiate Cloak's insatiable hunger, the only force strong enough to keep the darkness at bay. She was his lifeline, his anchor to the world of the living. Without her, Cloak would be consumed by the very darkness he wielded. Together, Cloak and Dagger became vigilantes, waging a relentless war against the very forces that had created them. They were protectors of the innocent, avengers of the wronged, but they were also tragic figures, forever bound by their powers and their dependence on one another. Cloak, with his dark, brooding presence, was the shadow to Dagger's light, the night to her day. They were inseparable, not just by choice, but by necessity, each incomplete without the other. The creation of Cloak and Dagger in 1982 by writer Bill Mantlo was not merely a stroke of creative genius, it was a reflection of the grim realities of the world around him. Mantlo, after a haunting visit to Ellis Island, conceived these characters as embodiments of the fear, misery, hunger, and longing that he had witnessed. Cloak and Dagger were born from the shadows of America's forgotten past, from the tales of immigrants who had passed through Ellis Island, carrying with them hopes and dreams that would often be crushed by the harshness of reality. Cloak's powers are a manifestation of this darkness, a literal and metaphorical representation of the shadows that lurk within all of us. The Darkforce dimension, with its numbing cold and terrifying visions, is not just a place, it is a state of being, a reflection of Cloak's tortured soul. It is a place where fear reigns supreme, where light is a fleeting, precious commodity that can be snuffed out in an instant. But for all his power, Cloak is a prisoner of his own darkness. He is condemned to live in the shadows, forever haunted by the hunger that gnaws at him from within. His existence is one of isolation, of being misunderstood and feared by those around him. The world sees him as a monster, a harbinger of death and despair. Only Tandy, his luminous counterpart, sees the man beneath the cloak, the boy who lost his voice, who carries the weight of the world on his shoulders, and who longs for the warmth of the light. Cloak's story is one of tragedy and redemption, of love and loss. He is a hero born from the darkest depths of the human experience, a symbol of the enduring struggle between good and evil, light and shadow. In his cloak, he carries the weight of 1,000 nightmares, but in Tandy's light, he finds the strength to keep going, to keep fighting, even when the darkness threatens to overwhelm him. In the end, Cloak is not just a character, he is a reflection of the world we live in, a world where light and darkness coexist, where hope and despair are forever intertwined, and where the line between hero and villain is often blurred. And as long as there is darkness in the world, there will be a need for heroes like Cloak, who walk the line between the two, fighting to keep the light alive. Thank you for stepping into the shadows with us and exploring the powerful story of Cloak and Dagger. We hope you felt the intensity, the fear, and the unwavering bond that binds these two souls together in their fight against the darkness. Your time and attention mean everything to us, and we're grateful you joined us on this journey. But this is just the beginning. There are countless stories of black heroes, villains, and creators that deserve to be told, celebrated, and remembered. If you felt the impact of this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button on Black People in Comics. Your support helps us shine a light on the incredible contributions of black characters and creators in the world of comics. Don't forget to leave a like, ring the notification bell so you never miss an update, and share your thoughts in the comments. And please, share this video with friends who appreciate the powerful intersection of culture, history, and superhero storytelling. Together, we can keep these stories alive.